I bought this bike last year. I got it pretty cheap, and when I got it home, found out that almost everything needed to be done with it. The seat post was frozen, shocks were stuck, and broken spokes, and just about everything needed to be done on this bike. Replace the bottom bracket. Anyway, one last thing I need to do is replace the crankset on this bike because it's mismatched. This one's kind of like a chipped chrome something or other, and the other side is just a plain aluminum. It's like there are two different crank arms. So I'm replacing the whole crankset. And so I got some new cranks, and I'm going to go ahead and install those. Okay, I want to keep the pedals off of these to install on the other set. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these. I got my pedal wrench here. And go ahead. There we go. And then just pedal forward here. Got that off. Now I need to remove this bolt here. So just loosen this. Take this off. Like that. Then using a crank remover tool here, what I'll do is just go ahead and thread this in. And hopefully these aren't stripped. There, just thread this in nice and easy, as far as it'll go, like that. And then I can screw this in. Let's see here. I'll hold that so that it doesn't turn, and take this and then turn this in. And what this will do is push the crank off, like that. And that just pushes the crank off the spindle like this. Okay, now I want to remove this pedal here. So I'm going to bring this up here, like this. Get my tool in here like this. And tighten it like, or loosen it like that. And then I can pedal forward. And that pedal's off. Okay, now I want to remove this bolt here. Like that. Got my crank puller tool here. Thread this in. Bars will go like that. Screw this part in. Hold this like this, tighten this in, and that will pull the crank off like that. Okay, I'm ready to put the drive side crank arm on, and one thing to be aware of is that it's all four directions on a square crank are not always equal. So what might happen is you put it on, and on one side the chain ring, it may, the whole thing may just not be quite on there straight. So the chain ring is going to kind of wobble in and out. So you can try another direction, and it may be better on that. You try another direction, it might be worse. You try another direction, and then it might be the best of all. So you may want to try more than one direction. So what I'm going to do is take this chain here, and I'm going to take a black felt tip pen, and I'm just going to mark one corner of it here, just so I know where my starting point is. I can put the crank arm on here like this, and then just take a rubber mallet and just tap it on to begin with. Then what I can do is just rotate it around and watch the chain ring in relationship to the derailleur cage here, and see if it goes in and out. And It actually looks pretty straight, so I may just go ahead and just leave it in this direction. But if it did wobble in and out, then what I can do is pop it off with the crank puller, and then just try the next direction, and just try all 4 directions and find which direction was the best of the 4. But this actually looks pretty good right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the crank bolt here, and this presses the crank onto the spindle, and then just tighten this on. Oop. This like that, and you can use a torque wrench. I usually just kind of tighten it till it's kind of tight and leave it like that. Now that I have the other crank arm on, I can go on this side, and this side is real easy. It just goes 180 degrees from the other side. So go ahead and install the crank bolt. And tighten this on. Like that. And then just like that. I'm ready to reinstall the pedals here, and this side is going to be left hand threaded, so I make sure I got the left hand pedal anyway, and this is going to thread on the opposite way, so it's going to tighten on counterclockwise like this. So tighten it on. I got my pedal wrench here. I get this on, and then just pedal this in reverse like that. Get my block of wood here to hold the crank arm, so I can just tighten that down like that. So that pedal's on nice and tight now. Okay, and then put this pedal on, and then this pedal is going to be just normal right hand threaded. So I'll start that in like this. I get my pedal wrench here and just pedal this backwards to tighten it on. Just like that. Get my piece of wood here to hold the crank arm, and then I can just tighten it forward like that. There, nice and tight. Now I want to double check the shifting on there with this new crank set. The gears might be slightly in or out from where they had been on the previous crank. So I'll go ahead, shift up. One, that worked. Up one more, that goes. Go down one, go down one. And it's not quite going down to the smallest gear. So I think I need to adjust one of these limiting screws here. So I'm just going to have one of these limiting screws out just a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, it's not the limiting screw. So if I adjust the cable in just a little bit, that might work. Up, up, down, down. Okay, yeah, I just tightened the barrel adjuster on the shifter a little bit, and so now it's shifting a little bit better. That's looking much better. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this limiting screw in, since that wasn't the issue. Up, down. Okay, now it's working pretty well. Anyway, I'm all done, and I think it looks a lot better than this really crappy looking crank arm there and the mismatched cranks. And anyway, that's how you replace a crank set on a square spindle bottom bracket. Wasn't that hard. This crank set here was pretty cheap. I got it off of eBay. I hope you found this helpful or interesting. If you did, please click the like button, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and click the big subscribe button down here. Anyway, thank you for watching.